So coming up next in our birch tree forest, what you are going to do is finish cutting out your birch trees that you made. Please make sure when you're cutting out your trees that you cut into the black outline that you painted, because we don't want any of that white paper on the outside edges. We want just nice black contrasting edges. After you cut out your birch trees, you're going to pick out a color paper for your background. Remember to think about certain things like what time of day is it, what is the weather like. Those things will change what color your background is. If it's bright and sunny, you might want yellow. If it's kind of snowy midday, a little hazy, there might be some blue in the background. Or maybe you just want to be wild and wacky and have green. After you pick out your paper and you have your trees cut out, you're going to consider the composition for your trees. We talked about what makes compositions interesting and what makes a composition kind of meh. Remember, if you stick things right in the middle, is that an interesting composition? No. What you can do is put things off to the side a little bit. Much more interesting. You can even have your trees going at an angle, a diagonal. That's really interesting. But go ahead and play with different kinds of compositions. What you do need to think about though are these edges. If you do a diagonal tree, make sure you don't have like a tree that's missing half of its top and it just ends on the paper. Make sure the ends go off the edges of the paper. Once you have a nice composition, you're going to glue it down using your glue brushes and your glue tubs. After you're done gluing, you're going to put your finished birch tree paper onto the drying rack. After you're done putting that on the drying rack, you're going to finish your feather texture paper. Remember, for the feather texture paper, we are using washable markers and plain water and a fluffy watercolor brush. You can just do scribbly, scratchy coloring blotches of washable marker, or you can do line designs and patterns to create an interesting feather texture. You need to color the whole paper, but I do recommend you work in small little sections, because our washable markers bleed and feather out a little better when they are a little wet, not completely dry. So you want to make sure that you add marker to your whole entire paper, totally covered. When you're all done with your feather texture paper, you're going to put this on the drying rack, and then go ahead, try to create your own implied, not real, textures at your tables.